Drivers are up against the first Icon elimination race tonight on some high banks in Hampton. Ending the round of 16, Atlanta stands as yet another wild card race to test these drivers not only against each other and against the racetrack, but against themselves, as patience in the pack will prove to be valuable here this evening. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Hampton, Georgia. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for continuing coverage of the 2024 Icon Cup Series. Tonight's coverage is brought to you from Atlanta, virtual Atlanta, by Whiplash Simcams, by ATVO, by CC's Business, and by Cody Williams Design. We are finally here for an elimination date, Zach. We are cutting this field down from 16 in the playoffs to just 12 for the next round of 3 races coming up. And it's all happening at a big-time wildcard track, the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where things are oh so difficult to navigate as a pack. We're going to see these guys, 25 drivers strong it looks like, go around this place 160 times. It's tight, it's narrow, it's high banked, and it's fast.
That it is. Atlanta has been one of the epicenters really for a lot of resurgence in super speedway racing. You saw that SMI was able to redo the entire Atlanta Motor Speedway, turn it into something super speedway-esque, and it's become, honestly, it's become a lot of a hot spot for these guys. You've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr. make a lot of great comments about it before. You've seen so many crazy scenarios happen in the time that we've seen this new rebranded Atlanta, and for the longest time now, the sports industry, or even just NASCAR individually, has shifted to a more entertainment factor, and well, Atlanta is perfectly set for that. I think we're going to see a lot of great racing tonight from these drivers, and yeah, no, Andrew, I mean, if there's any place to make a cutoff race, it's Atlanta.
The NASCAR Cup Series began their playoffs earlier today here at the real Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, ending the first round of the playoffs. So things are a little bit different here for the Icon Cup Series, as qualifying will begin down trackside. Let's take a look at the Icon Cup Series point standings while qualifying begins, Zach. Boy, things are interesting, and we'll come back and cover these a little bit during warm-up, but that 11-point cut between Zach Lockett and Brock Hersey, 11 points is a large gap, and Sean Purcell, 17 points back, Timothy Harper, 19 points back. Really, if you're out of the playoffs right now, it's going to take some stage points or a win.
That it is. If you want to talk about needing a win, Justin Bissonnette is the only driver in a must-win situation, but unfortunately, he will not be joining us tonight, so that pretty much eliminates him from the contention of making it to the round of 12. So it's all down to Timothy Harper, Sean Purcell, and Brock Hersey to find a way to point themselves above that cut line and lock themselves into the next round. And with qualifying underway, track position, I wouldn't say it's going to be super important at a track like Atlanta, considering it's like a super speedway, but hey, I always am a big supporter of gaining that early track position.
And looking for track position here is Timothy Harper, in car number 12, missed last week at Darlington, is here this evening at Atlanta, looking, again, doesn't have to get a win, but likely is going to want that win for security, because points are going to be something that are hard to come by here this evening. Remember, only the top 5 earns stage points throughout the course of these races. Brock Hersey, quick so far in qualifying, is now dropping down to 6th. That lap comes across, he's going to drop to 8th, 9th. Everybody else is going faster, it looks like. Nathan Finnegan to the top of the board.
Timmy Harper, we just pulled away from him. He went up to 4th fastest, a 31.4, and there he is on his cooldown lap. Oh, actually, no, he might be on his 2nd lap here. No, he's definitely off pace. That's his cooldown lap for Timmy Harper.
Cooldown lap it is. Kyle Purcell's 6th quick so far. Cameron Thompson, it looks like in a Chevrolet this evening instead of a Ford, is 7th quick. Kevin Gunther, 8th quick. Zach Lockett qualifies 11th so far, and everybody gets moved down a bit by Charlie Widener, who goes to the very top of the board, a 31.374, 1/1000th of a second faster than Nathan Finnegan, who is 1/1000th of a second faster than Kyle Gilbert, who is 1/1000th of a second faster than Adam Ball.
such a close field right now. Brian Patty now on the racetrack, and he's looking to see if he can take that pole position away from Charlie Widener. He ran a 32.0 that last time by on his first lap. Going into turn 3 now, and Andrew, this is one thing that's actually, I forgot, is totally different about Daytona and Talladega compared to something like Atlanta. This track can still be run like it's an intermediate track. You can go top to bottom, bottom top, as Brian Patty goes to what looks to be 6th position.
6th place so far there for Ryan Patty. Here is Logan Romney now, one of the only cars left qualifying. Jacob Smith is also on the track. Looks like Cody Eldred and Eric Smith will not take times this evening, leaving just these 2 final cars to set a couple of lap times. On board with Jacob Smith. And he's going to drop all the way down into the out-of-bounds area. This is okay during qualifying. It's not okay during the race. You cannot pass down there. The double white and red line will be treated just like the double yellow at Daytona or Talladega, so we'll talk more about that as we get into race conditions. But here's Logan Romney down the backstretch now in car 42.
Ran a 31.51 his last time by. That would be good for about mid-pack from what it looks like on these times. About 19th from what it seems like on the ticker. Rolling past the line now. Doesn't go below the yellow, or below the red. That's a 31.45. That is going to slot him in right around 12th.
And that seems to be it for qualifying, so we'll let these guys cool down and get ready for warm-up here. Track conditions so far, wow, 133 degrees in the air. Zach, it's a drafting track, so that doesn't matter a ton, but 133 degrees under any circumstances is rather warm. And that's toasty.
You ever seen it over 100 degrees in early September in Georgia? Of all places.
Well, that was the track temp. The track temp now is sinking down considerably. 43-degree difference as we get ready for warm-up here. A 90-degree track temp. 85 degrees in the air. As you can see, we've moved towards sunset. The sun setting back behind turns 1 and 2. So that at least helps things out a little bit. We won't have a super hot racetrack anymore. We talked about those points already. We'll talk about them one more time. By the way, Evan Batinko right now, best of the rest right now in 17th spot. But you mentioned Justin Bissonette is the only driver in a proper must-win scenario, and that's true. But with how difficult it's going to be to get stage points, if Harper, Purcell, and Hersey do not capitalize and get a stage win, I'm considering it a must-win for each of them, because we don't have 40 cars like the NASCAR Cup Series does. We only have 25 that are signed in here this evening, which is still a considerable car count, but it's slimmer than what you see in the NASCAR Cup Series, so there's less of a swing of points. There's fewer points up for grabs, if that makes sense. So you have got to make sure you capitalize on these stages, and if you can't, it's going to come down, I think, to victory lane.
Well, the only things that we can say considerably at the moment is that Nathan Finnegan is for sure a lock into the next round, so should be Ryan Patty. Vincent Loria, he is not here tonight. He actually informed us that he would be missing, and I think he informed us of that last week, actually. So he was a little nervous about if he was going to get bumped out or not, but I think looking at the points margins, Vincent Loria should be an easy lock into the next round. The only ones that I think should truly be worried are more than likely Zach Lockett, Kevin Gunther, Charlie Widener, and maybe Cody Eldred and Kyle Purcell. They seem like the only ones that should be in the worry situation of potentially getting knocked out tonight, because if I do my math correctly, which I'm sure I don't, but we'll try anyway, Brock Hersey would need, if he won both stages and got 10 points automatically, he would just have to finish 1 point in front of Zach Lockett. That's about it. That's if Zach Lockett doesn't score any stage points. Sean Purcell, he'd still be 7 points back. Timmy Harper would be 9 points back. This is factoring in if they all win both the stages. But not everybody can win both stages, so we'll just have to see how it plays out for all these drivers.
I'm going to refresh myself because I think, well, I'm going to refresh myself on stage points with the Icon Cup Series. It's a little bit different from what you see in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's 8 points to first, then 4,
Oh.
3, 2, and 1. So it's a little bit different. Those 8 points for that first place, that's super important. You've got to go out there and try and get those stage points. I even talked about this with some drivers in the League Discord channel. You've got to capitalize on these stages. If that requires taking an odd pit strategy, then it requires taking an odd pit strategy, because these stages pay points, whereas no other lap except for the final lap does. You've got to capitalize on these stage points, and we just haven't seen a push to capitalize on stages this season. Granted, this is a drafting track. This is a bit different from what we saw at Darlington last week, but Darlington last week, geez. Jacob Gladulich capitalized on an opportunity to take tires and run up for a potential stage win. He nearly had it, Zach. If those two cars at turn 1 at Darlington were just another foot apart, he would have had the stage win in a couple more laps. And while it's going to be a little different here this evening, because it's not quite that same kind of driver track as a drafting track here at Atlanta, you've still got to pull different moves out of the bag to try and get these stage wins. That's 8 points apiece and playoff points down the line.
Did we ever get confirmation on if Jacob Gladulich did score points in that stage he was running for the lead?
Well, that's neither here nor there. That's last week. We'll let that be that. But again, stage points. That's what's going to matter here.
It is. And like you said, Andrew, I think it's going to be probably the biggest talking point of the night, because that's what's going to fluctuate our calculators as we go on. And then you look here at the Icon Cup Series schedule. The round of 12 is up next. 3 tracks that are definitely going to make these drivers question why they are even in the championship fight. Watkins Glen, Bristol, and Kansas. You're going to road course, short track, intermediate. So there's one of every discipline minus the super speedway, but that's where we're at tonight. So you're going to see a lot of changing of the points with those round of 12 drivers. It's going to fluctuate from Glen to Bristol to Kansas. I think we're going to see drivers that shine as road course ringers maybe take a step forward and try to make that their way in, or you might see something else happen. I don't know. There's always too many variables when it comes to tracks like Watkins Glen.
Well, we are at that time, Zach, to go racing this evening. Race 28 of 37 in the full calendar year here for the Icon Cup Series. Let's meet the starting grid. On pole, it's Charlie Widener needing some points here this evening. While he's in already, he doesn't have much of a cushion. He's going to start from pole position and potentially in a position to win stage 1 if he's able to hang on throughout these first 69 laps. Nathan Finnegan rolls off in the second spot right next to him. Starting third and fourth, it's Kyle Vincent Gilbert and Adam Ball, who is one of 2 drivers locked into the next round of the playoffs. Starting fifth, it's going to be Timothy Harper. Sixth, Ryan Patty. Seventh and eighth, it'll be Jacob Gladulich and Kyle Purcell. And to complete your top 10, we're going to find Brad Delph and Cameron Thompson.
Now coming out of the top 10, Kevin Gunther and Logan Romney. They're going to be starting 11th and 12th on the night. That's going to be row number 6. And as we fall into row number 7, you find Thomas Taylor and Brock Hersey. Brock Hersey still needing a good run tonight to be able to make it to the next round of the playoffs. Stephen Tuck and Evan Patinko, they're going to end up 15th and 16th on the starting grid here tonight. And then that's going to put them about midfield. That's what's going to be our midfield tonight. Zach Lockett, Jacob Smith, 17th and 18th on the starting grid tonight. That's row number 9. And then row number 10, Chase Lewis and Robert Bluen rounding out the 19th and 20th spots.
5 more cars. 21st, it's Nathan Brzezowski. 22nd, Joshua Clemens. 23rd, it'll be Hanover Fist of the 69 car. Then Cody Eldred will roll off from the 24th spot. And finally, at the very back end of the field, it'll be Eric Smith. Want to take a quick look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details here this evening. You see them on the bottom right of your screen. 160 laps the distance. 69 laps here in stage 1. Only 27 laps in stage number 2. That'll be a quick run to the end of that stage. And then 64 laps in stage number 3. A bit of a different setup here for the stages this evening. Going to be fun to try and follow through with. It's going to be a lot to talk about for sure over the course of 160. Down towards the Geico restart zone, we're going to turn things over to the hands of Charlie Widener in control for the start of this race. We are green flag from Atlanta. Down the backstretch for the first time, you see the sun setting in the background, lighting this back straightaway up all the way down to turn number 3, side by side, nobody moving an inch.
At Super Speedway Racing at its finest right here, side by side, coming off of turn number 4. Who's going to lead lap number 1? It's going to be Nathan Finnegan taking that car to the point on the outside line. And they're still going to remain side by side. This is the big thing that I was talking about with a lot of my buddies earlier when we were watching the NASCAR Cup Series race, is that Atlanta has different characteristics to a super speedway like Daytona and Talladega, where you can take that outside line and keep the momentum rolling most of the time, but the inside line is so powerful in the corners here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Not to mention, like we stated previously, this can operate like an intermediate track still. You can run from the top to the bottom and apex the corner, or you can just run that line and take it all the way around, wrapping that bottom or wrapping the top. But the big thing that I need to remember, Andrew, and you need to remember too, tires. Tires are a big thing here at Atlanta still.
And we'll see just how much tires come into play this evening over the course of stage 1. I think this longest first stage is going to be interesting to watch as Vincent Gilbert went down to the inside of Charlie Widener for just a moment. He's looking around, trying to find somewhere to go. But worth remembering again, that double white line is out of bounds. That is marking the designation of racing surface versus not racing surface. You cannot pass down there. So even though Gilbert was looking down to the inside through the front stretch, that is a no-go. That is out of bounds. You cannot pass below that double white line. And now we're seeing the front of the field go to the bottom side of the racetrack. The top 3 on the bottom lane getting an advantage. That's Charlie Widener, Kyle Gilbert, and Timothy Harper to turn 1.
Yeah, Timmy Harper has already taken into account that he needs stage points today as he is putting that car up into the 3rd spot. Finnegan with the run on the outside line is not going to let Timmy Harper get away, but it looks like he's going to get clear. Finnegan falls in line right behind Harper, and he's going to close up to that back bumper really quick as the outside line continues to drop on back. Ryan Patty trying to lead the way, but a few cars looking back to the top. Nathan Finnegan jumps out of line, but he's not going to have any help.
A couple of cars nearly got the wall there down the front stretch through the quad oval. Here comes Jacob Gladgelich to the inside of Adam Ball. Adam Ball has won on a drafting track this season. He won at Daytona just 2 races ago. He is locked into the next round, but it's interesting to see him commanding a line towards the front of the field this early in this race. Zach, could he go 2 for 2 in drafting tracks in this round?
Hey, that's more points to help carry you through the playoffs. You got to maximize as many points as you can. I know I stated previously that I said Adam Ball could just kind of cruise through the rest of the round and say, I'm locked in, I don't really got to worry about it, but he's thinking about round of 12 already. He's got to maximize those points, but looks like he's not going anywhere. Timmy Harper takes a look up top, stays in line, but we've got the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, all single file on that bottom line. Never mind. We got Mr. Houston himself to the top. That was Jacob Gladgelich.
Gladgelich moving up, no help there. Adam Ball will finally pull up through turns 1 and 2 and give him a bit of aid through the corner and down the back straightaway. But yeah, everybody getting single file down low for the most part, all the way down through Brock Hersey now in the 7th place. Hersey now, you can see that 14 actually pulls up alongside of him and passes him through turns 3 and 4. But the bottom side seems to be the place to go as here comes Timmy Harper looking to the outside and bringing Finnegan.
Yeah, and that's going to help get Finnegan and Harper to the front. It really broke up that bottom line. We're just going to let the top line have a great run. Timmy Harper is now clear out in front for the race lead. Widener dropping back, stacking up that bottom line. Hersey had to move around. And now, look at Gunther. He's looking back to the bottom. Finnegan stays high. Is he going to keep that momentum going? I think so. Draws alongside that 6 car. Now Finnegan, trying not to put himself in the sucker hole, stays right in front of Gladgelich. Big wiggle out of the 14.
And in the wall, we're crashing!
Spinning.
And it looks like trouble for Nathan Brzezowski. Caution number 1 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And it looks like that right front is really messed up on that race car. I believe, at least, looked really pointed as he was rolling off the banking.
Yeah, he's having some trouble.
And that still puts us about 26 laps until the end of the stage for these drivers here in the Icon Cup Series. So Brzezowski, not the start to the day that he wanted, only 11 laps in, but hey, that is the trials and tribulations when it comes to, well, for lack of better terms, super speedway racing.
So a little more than 26 to go. I want to remind the first stage here is 69 laps. And you know what, Zach? Don't feel bad. I don't know that I can get these stages straight if not for having to type them in earlier. This is some wacky stage length combos. 69 laps here in stage 1. 27 in stage 2. 64 in stage 3. If that's not a wacky combo, I don't know what is. And you see there, Nathan Brzezowski getting turned around by Brad Delph, a little bit of contact with the 72. And it was started further forward. Well, that is not what was posted in the Discord. Oh boy.
So Brzezowski off the pit lane. He's going to be rolling pretty solid. Looks like he's going to get to the bloodline before the field's able to get to him. And they are going to be doubling up this time. Looks like we are going to be coming back to the green flag this time by as Brzezowski comes around the racetrack now, catching up to the field. And it looks like after spending about a full minute and a half, just over that in the pit lane, he's going to roll back around off of turn number 4, tag the end of the field. And he will be able to catch up to the field before we take the green. You see Timmy Harper still leading the charge after that first caution of the evening. So we'll be going green flag racing back on lap 14 with the potential of Timmy Harper being able to collect some stage points, Andrew. And this is exactly what he needs right now. He just got to hold on to that lead for about 20 more laps, just about, as Gunther's going to line up on the top side, Weidner behind him. Then it's Finnegan fielding those first 2 rows.
It looks like it was edited sometime after the fact, but I promise it was posted as lap 69 for the end of stage 1. And boy, did I think it was a little bit odd, and that's why it was a little bit odd, because it was not correct. It has now been corrected, and yes, lap 36 will end stage 1, which means this is going to get everybody right into the fuel window. This is going to save a lot of people and potentially make this a no-stop stage now. Green flag will go back in the air. This caution changes a lot of things. Harper out to a big advantage. Weidner sitting in the 2nd spot. 3rd is Gunther up top. And, whoa, Harper blocks the 31. What was that? And that puts the 95 onto the apron.
That was a huge block out of Timmy Harper. I was going to make the comment saying Harper got out to way too big of a lead off that restart. Gunther did not get going. He held up Finnegan. That really stacked up the whole field. Allowed Timmy Harper to drive away, but it's a common occurrence, Andrew. You don't want to be a sitting duck at a super speedway. Harper knows he needs the stage points, and he's going to do whatever he can to make sure he gets it. Top line foreman again. Romney on the outside. He gets going, but he's by himself now. Ryan Patty thought about it going into 3. He falls back in line. Timmy Harper still leading that inside charge. Gilbert right behind, but don't look now. The outside line's trying to form back up. Lewis behind Romney, trying to push him. Finnegan and Gladulech trying to move themselves back up inside the top 5 where they were before the shenanigans started.
Down the backstretch now, lap 16 of 160, so a tenth of the way through this race. When we get back to the stripe this time, Harper hangs on to the race lead. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I'm surprised nobody has gotten up to him since that occurrence. Down the backstretch, that big block and near crash for Charlie Widener. And by the way, Widener has fallen all the way down to last place, has just about lost the draft, and now I'd say has officially lost the draft in 25th.
That he has, quite off the margin.
With damage to boot on the right front, you can just see it there. The right front fender separated from the hood and the bumper.
At least it's not the toe knocked out like Brzezowski had just recently on his race car. So that's going to be
Harper jumps up high. Harper jumps up, and Ryan Patty says, no, I'm having none of that. Goes right through the middle. One car gets forced off. That's Brock Hersey at the back. He's going to fall down to the rear of this pack as Harper tries to find a way in. There is just no hole for the 12 car.
Falling back, still 3 wide on the top side. He is going backwards. He's going backwards quick, Andrew. I don't think stage points are going to be in the running at the moment for Timmy Harper, but look at the big run he gets on Zach Lockett right there. Gets himself back into a good spot on the outside line. He's going to try to get those stage points back, but he's got to get up there. He's got to get up there quick.
See, there are some drivers hanging off the back end of the field with no draft right now up to the front of the field. They are in their own group. They are sitting back, I think, waiting on these guys to maybe have a crash here. Some of those drivers include Cody Eldred, Joshua Clemens, some drivers that I thought would want some stage points, but they're sitting back trying to wait this out and not get caught up in any early crash. And there's a fair, I guess, theory to that, Zach. Of course, you have to make it to the end of the race in order to earn the big points. It's a risk that you have to take, I guess.
That it is. You got to find where you can take these risks. You can't go into next week, whether you're in or out of the playoffs, and thinking, maybe I should have made that move. Maybe it would have helped me. Who knows? You've got to try to do whatever you can. As we take a look at these cars riding through the sunset, my goodness, this is so nice to see at Atlanta.
Yeah, for a long time, in fact, until Wednesday this past week, we have never been able to go night racing at Atlanta on iRacing, whether it was the old version of Atlanta, the 2008 scan, or the new scan of Atlanta that was developed through iRacing. We've never been able to go Atlanta night racing. That has changed. We've got lights that have been added to the track. We are actually able, for the first time, to go racing into the night here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Oh, big crash!
Oh, big crash!
Romney into the outside wall, got hooked. That's going to involve Gladulech, Gunther, and more. Massive accident. Finnegan's involved.
What a heavy hit there for a lot of those drivers. Oh my goodness.
And it all started with this guy right here, Logan Romney.
He is taking that car backwards. Pulling the old Kyle Busch.
He's got a lot of damage. I don't think he's going to be able to make it much further.
And we're actually hearing that they're telling him to stop driving backwards. And it looks like he's going to take the tow. Romney to the pit lane and into the safety of the garage from what it looks like. And
so he's got
look at the replay now.
He's got his teammate Chase Lewis right behind him, and they're bumping and bumping and bumping, and Lewis just got staggered and ends up hooking him.
Don't push the pusher. It's a #1 rule. You can't push the pusher.
I don't think it was even that. I mean, he did push the pusher for a moment, but then he just got out of line. I don't know if he thought the line was going to go higher into the corner, but he just pulls up out of line and then ends up hooking him.
Yeah, and then you saw he ended up making contact trying to come back down the racetrack. He got turned off the nose of Timmy Harper. So...
And this is Lewis' first start of the series as well, so not the way he wanted things to go. Here's the onboard from him. He just got staggered and ends up hooking him.
There are so many ways that you can take that, because I can understand from Lewis's perspective at least, everyone had kind of been shifting up a little bit in the corners, letting the car drift up ever so slightly off of the white line, not hooking it completely. So that's one dissertation that you could make here. But the other dissertation is that, like I said, Andrew, tires. Tires are a factor here. That's not something that we can usually say at a super speedway since, what, 2010? After Daytona got its big old repave and everyone was able to say, well, we don't have to worry about tires here anymore. So tires can wear here. Tires can be detrimental to your race. So if you push too hard, it's easy to see why a car would drift up in the center of the corner.
Here's an onboard with Nathan Finnegan, who's involved in this massive accident in turn 3. It's mostly massive because of the hit that Romney takes there and takes the 31 and 6 along with him, and then Lewis really gets the wall too. So those two teammates end up knocking the turns 3 and 4 wall down. Brock Hersey, it looks like, gets through it just fine on the bottom side, but really, really massive hits for those couple of drivers, and we'll get an onboard here with the 84 of Lewis. Sorry, the 42, rather, of Romney inside the car.
Looking at Romney. He's holding a steady line, Andrew. I mean, Romney really didn't do anything wrong in this situation. There's a shove, there's a corner, and then there's the hook. Oh, man.
And honestly, this could have been a lot bigger. This could have involved a lot more cars. I'm surprised it didn't. We'll watch it here from the blimp, and this will show a really wide angle. Boom, there's the hook and the crash. Lockett was nearly in it. He just skates through. Looks like the 7 nearly got a part of it.
And as they get ready to go back green, looks like Romney and Lewis are the only cars out of the race. Hanover Fist actually has just decided to park his car. He was fearful of his connection issues, so he is deciding to park it.
Towards the Geico restart zone, we'll get this race resumed with 11 laps remaining in stage number 1. Green flag back in the air at Atlanta. Ryan Patty hanging on the outside of the 12 car of Harper as the sun sinks further and further down behind turns 1 and 2. Now I'd say we are properly into a bit of darkness.
Well, the lights are on.
That they are. Lights are on. The sunlight isn't really seen on the racetrack anymore. We are officially night racing at Atlanta for the first time.
What a way to start it. Single file on the bottom. Just about everybody. You got one car straggling up on the top. Now make it 2 is one of the Purcell brothers, I believe. That's Sean Purcell making his way up to the top. He's in a good spot at the moment, I believe. Sean's
not here.
Purcell's the one below. He's not?
Sean's not here. Sean is the one that is out of the playoffs currently. Well, out of the top 12 anyway, and he is not here this evening. So we can consider him out of the playoffs now after this race. Kyle Purcell is in decently safely. But that makes 2 drivers that were on the out looking in that are out of this race, not here this evening. Both Justin Bissonette and Sean Purcell. That leaves just Timmy Harper and Brock
Hersey.
Hersey. Yeah, Brock Hersey was 24. as the 2 drivers that could try to make their way in. Otherwise, the top 12 is just about decided.
That it is, and Timmy Harper is looking to make sure he's one of those top 12 drivers running in the 3rd spot right now. As we near the end of the 1st stage, he's trying to maximize those stage points, Andrew, and with drivers not being here, that's extra spots in the standings for him, but as it runs, he would still be 19 below the cut. Zach Lockett being the driver he has to finish in front of to make it in front, and at the moment, as they run, Zach Lockett is currently sitting in the 8th position, about 8th or 9th, so that puts Timmy Harper, that puts him 6 points up. That puts him 13 out minus the stage points right now. So he's doing everything he needs to do. He just needs to get a little bit more out of the stage.
Now working lap 31 and 160 crashing. He just went fastest. He's in the wall now on lap 31. Kyle Purcell in the wall. Just turned the fastest lap of the race and is now going to be out with no caution flag. No caution at all. Thomas Taylor also involved.
Race control stating there will be no caution for the 0-1 car as he's trying to limp that car back to pit road.
Gonna look at what happened here for Kyle Purcell.
Caution on the racetrack.
And this is going to involve, it looks like, the same, well, oh wow. It's a massive hit for the 01.
It looks like the caution is going to be for Kyle Purcell because apparently he did not tow the car to the pit lane. He sat there and it brought the caution out.
I think he decided that a caution was coming out for him one way or another.
And it looks like race control is going to call that as the stage break. So give the stage win to Adam Ball.
And there's the caution. So Kyle Purcell ends up drawing the yellow, it looks like. He and Thomas Taylor involved in this crash. And Adam Ball, you mentioned, will take the stage 1 win and bring everybody down the pit lane. Brock Hersey, it looks like, is staying out. Everybody else comes in.
I admire the decision, but at the same time, we're nearing the end of the fuel window.
He may not have got communication about the end of the stage, because I don't see another reason to stay out there unless you were staying out to try and get stage points. Very interesting. Well, Adam Ball is your stage 1 winner. And we will talk to driver 19 here for what seems like, I think this is the 3rd week in a row now that we've spoken with driver 19. This is interesting how Adam Ball continues to find a way to the front as soon as the playoffs get started. He won at, oh, that says race winner. This should say stage winner. There we go. He won at Daytona. Now he's a stage winner at Atlanta. Adam, clearly the car is working in your favor on these drafting tracks. How about that new paint scheme as well?
Yeah, it's bad. So I think we'll run it from here on out. But yeah, we're trying to get us bonus points for winning stages here, and we'll see what we can do.
Of course, you're safe to the next round, so that takes all the pressure off. Do you think you can try and control the front of this field and go to victory lane this evening?
I don't know about that. We're just going to see if we can get another stage win, maybe get another win here, get all the points we can for carryovers into the next round, and see what we can do.
Speaking of the next round, Watkins Glen, Bristol, and Kansas, how do you feel about it?
Terrible.
All right. Understood. Well, best of luck here in stage number 2.
Thank you.
It looks like the decision to call stage 1 is going to end up lengthening stage 2. I think that's what Brock Hersey might have stayed out for, Zach.
Interesting call. I still, I'm not going to lie to you, Andrew. I still kind of disagree with the call to stay out. But if he's got a plan, then I say go for it. Do what the other drivers don't.
I'm a little perplexed, I'll be honest, unless the stage has not been called yet. I don't know. I'm perplexed. I'm speechless in a way.
We have another message from race control saying stage end is lap 30 is the end of lap 36. So maybe it's going to be a one-lap run here. I could have sworn I heard someone say this will be the end of stage, but here we go.
Into the restart zone, and we are back green at Atlanta. And now we find out if this is going to be a one-lap sprint or if that was the end of the stage. We're going to find out truly very quickly as Gilbert gets the 19 going quickly, and there's the 24 pulling off. He's out of gas. Or he just wanted to get out of it.
He just might have wanted to get out of it.
He's got to be out of gas soon.
Coming to the line right here. Yeah, no stage caution. So we are still green. That was the end of stage when that caution came out. So Adam Ball, your stage 1 winner. As everyone now single file off of turn number 2. You've got about the first 9-10 cars, just about all under a blanket right here. As Adam Ball, Gilbert, Patty, Harper, and Patinko, your top 5.
This race has already perplexed me in ways I didn't think I could be perplexed. I'm not really sure anymore. There is something in the water this evening. That is all I know. We're going to watch the front end of the field as we talk to a driver who is out of this race already. It is Kyle Purcell with some big-time issues for car 01. Kyle, what happened?
Somebody turned in like I wasn't there, so 2 weeks in a row getting taken out by someone else being irresponsible. It's really frustrating and hoping that I can somehow squeak by on points, but it's going to be tight probably.
Yeah, that was about the one way that somebody on the outside was going to point in easily, is if somebody, like in this case you, had a problem early in the stage. Is there any way you can get back on the racetrack here and try to salvage what you can?
Unless more people wreck out soon, it's probably not going to be worth it. I got 30 more minutes required. I didn't want to bring out a caution for what it's worth. I knew I was more destroyed than it was worth, but I was holding the brake and it wasn't slowing down, so I had to wait till it hit 5 for everything to let me go. So it's unfortunate. I was trying to hang back a bit early on, then once I got the fresh tires, I was figuring I'd flip the stage and I wanted to test my wood door. I made a bunch of passes early on that run, and I thought, okay, well maybe I can drive up to stage points, and then unfortunately that means you have to put yourself in a bit tighter conditions, especially on this track, and one person making a mistake around you can injure it like it did. So didn't get an apology. I don't think he even claimed it, so kind of disappointing to see that, but it is what it is.
Well, best of luck to you here at Watkins Glen if you're still in the state or in the round of 12. I think you're decently safe. We'll find out though at the end of the night.
We'll see. Thanks, guys.
It's Kyle Purcell. Clearly dejected is a word you could use. Unhappy with how his race has gone, and well, hopefully he gets back on the racetrack at some point, is able to salvage a couple of spots. He is on the same lap. No, never mind. He's 5 laps behind Nathan Finnegan, who got back on the racetrack very recently. So if Finnegan has a problem, or if Thomas Taylor were to call it quits as he comes down the pit lane, who knows? Maybe there's points up for grabs for the 0-1 car. Thomas Taylor, the other half of that crash, probably into the pit lane, it looks like, and will come to a stop in his box. And by the way, Brock Hersey is still on the racetrack. The fuel number, so I did 10 laps earlier and got the fuel number of 0.36 gallons used per lap. Take that out of 12 gallons and it gets you 33.3 laps to a tank, Zach. The fact that he is here on lap 43 of a run, not sure how he's doing it, but he's doing it.
Making it work, that's definitely the way to say it. I'm a little surprised myself, honestly, Andrew. I think there is a lot going for Brock Kersey right now. It looks like he's able to save a lot with those caution flags. So, I don't know. He seems to have a solid strategy right now, because that's going to be able to have him utilize these tires for longer, so he can realistically save a set. And the only downside is that if he doesn't get a quick caution, he's going to have to pit under green, which is going to end up putting him a lap down. Therefore, kind of rendering a strategy null and void.
Yeah, he's got to pit eventually. This isn't going to work forever. Boy, when I say perplexed, I mean it. I have been thrown for so many curveballs that it's only lap 45, now 46 of 160. We've still got 115 to go. And we don't know what's going on, it feels like. But up front, it's Adam Ball, Kyle Gilbert, Ryan Patty, your top three, then Timothy Harper and Evan Patinko. And sure enough, Hersey's going to peel down to the inside in turns 3 and 4 and wrap around the apron to get to pit lane. He could go a little faster. He was up on the banking, the little bit of banking there on the top of the apron, but he's too fast entering anyway.
Well,
might not get a penalty,
checking. No penalty for the 24 car.
It was awfully close.
That it was. But he will make it to the security of the pit lane. 2 tires, it looks like. Nope, going for a full 4. That's going to put him 1 lap down. Should put him in the free pass position. However, there are other drivers that could potentially go a lap down. You've got Jacob Gladgelich and Eric Smith, both way off. There you see Finnegan. He's already 8 laps down, though, so he's no consequence to Hersey losing that free pass position. But he's going to make sure he stays high as the leaders are going to wrap around that bottom line, try to make their way around him.
So Finnegan staying nicely out of the way for these drivers to go on by. Adam Ball continues to lead here on lap 49, and I want to circle back around to the Kyle Purcell-Thomas Taylor battle, if you will. They are 10 laps separated, so if Kyle Purcell can go out and turn 10 laps, that's a spot as, Finnegan is going to get collected with Brad Delph. Caution again, lap 50 now, and it was a big hit for the 72. He's done. This is through 3 and 4. And Finnegan just misjudged it. Oh my gosh.
That's a heavy hit for both those cars. Brad Delph now out of this race. Surprisingly, Finnegan is still able to continue. He does not have a ton of damage on that race car, and he does not have the meatball flag, as drivers like to call it. However, Delph does, and will more than likely end his day for good.
Finnegan was just trying to slot in line and misjudged it. Ends up hooking the 72 car in a very big accident on the front stretch.
And actually, apparently, it looks like Finnegan has come over to race control and told them that he is going to be taking the at-fault for the incident, but he's also going to be parking the car. So it looks like regardless of how much damage Nathan Finnegan has on that car, regardless of however many laps down he is, he will be joining Brad Delph with being out of this race.
Well, once again, everything just kind of changes. What's the word you like to use a lot? Topsy-turvy, as here comes everybody out of the pit lane. Oh boy.
The thing that I'm trying to figure out at the moment... Nope, never mind. Figured it out. Because Eric Smith ended up going a lap down there at the end, but it looks like Hersey was able to get by him. So Brock Hersey now is going to be your free pass position. He's going to take that car right back to the security of pit road after getting his lap back from the leaders. So he's going to try to take some service real quick now that he has the lap back and get back on cycle with these drivers. I still respect the decision from Hersey to try and change something up, but at the same time, he was going to need a quick caution to be able to get that car in a good standpoint. To my knowledge, he's only going fuel only, though.
Well, under this caution, I want to remind everybody that we have some wonderful partners with Pit Stop TV. Whiplash SimCams is one of them, ATVL another. Of course, CC's Business and Cody Williams Design helping us out here at Pit Stop TV as Kyle Gilbert peels into the pit lane. At the back end of this caution, he will go towards the rear of the field. That leaves the lead then up to Adam Ball and Ryan Patty. They will be your front row when we go back green flag racing this next time around. And as a reminder, we're racing to the end of lap 96 for stage number 2. So a little over 40 laps. These guys will still have to pit one more time.
That they will.
And Zach, you talk about tires. Have already. You've been talking about tires. We know they'll be at least part of the conversation this evening moving forward. Only 4 change sets for these drivers. Well, they've already been down pit lane 2, 3, 4 times in some cases. Topping off on fuel. I think we've had 2 real pit stops at this point, if you will, with 4 tires and fuel. To already have burned 2 sets of change tires by lap 53 feels a little bit early.
Early? That's an understatement.
Well, and that's why I'm noticing now a lot of drivers did take what looks like either 2 tires or no tires, but some drivers took 4. And if you did take 4, my prayers are with you.
If it's your first change set, I think you're fine. But if it's 2 change sets and you took 4 tires, I share your sentiment.
We'll work down to the Geico restart zone one more time and go back. Green flag racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are back underway on lap 54. Adam Ball, Ryan Patty, side by side, off the banking, down the back straightaway.
And trying to get clear. Woo. Adam Ball sticks his nose back in there, keeps a hold of that race lead. I think Patty's going to slot in line right in front of Timmy Harper. That he is. Quick drop to the bottom. Ryan Patty slots in to that second place spot. So Harper to the 3rd spot after restarting 4th. That's going to put Jacob Smith into 4th. Patinko 5th. Clemens, Thompson, Widener, Lockett, and Gunther swapping positions back there. Lockett can't really keep affording to drop back. I got a little tongue-tied there. He cannot afford to keep dropping back. There we go. Because he could end up losing more spots to Timmy Harper. Right now, after the stage points, with Harper getting... Excuse me. How many stage points did he get for that 3rd place finish? 3. So that would put him 16 out. So that would put him with Lockett running 8th, Harper running 3rd. That's 5 points. So a total of 8 gained. That still puts him 11 points out.
Well, the Fords are lining up, and that's going to help Timothy Harper. You've got Harper in a Ford, Clemens in a Ford, and Jacob Smith in a Ford, all on the bottom side now, right behind Ryan Patty and Adam Ball. You might see the Fords work together. Patinko a Ford. So that's 4 Fords in a row on the bottom side of the racetrack. And by the way, look at the metallic Just amazing paint there for Joshua Clemens, who gets a big boot from the 21 of Jacob Smith. iRacing this week, along with updating Atlanta to have light support, also changed or made some small changes to spec maps, which give us metallic and matte paint schemes and such. Well, it looks really good. Boy, does it look really good. It really lights up that 44 car.
That it does. I think as the sun sets more, it's going to be so much more pretty. And we look on the racetrack right now. I heard from Nathan Finnegan, he said straight up he was going to park that race car. So the fact that he is out on the racetrack right now, getting laps back the hard way, is really interesting to see. But it's also quite the story, to be perfectly honest. He's been involved in 2 heavy hitter wrecks that could have potentially been race ending, and he's still fighting for what could realistically be the lead.
Kyle Gilbert had a problem, by the way. He is 2 laps down. Not sure exactly what's gone wrong for him, but it's worth noting that he's 2 laps out of the race lead after fighting for the race lead. Also, look at Brzezowski suddenly up here in 2nd place after that crash earlier. He is into the 2nd position. He was the first caution on the evening and is drafting away from the field now with Nathan Finnegan and Adam Ball.
He really got that car fixed up. I don't know how he did it. He spent just over 1.5 minutes in the pit lane getting that damage fixed. So it's good to see him out on the racetrack right now as we look at, we look at the margin now. You see 2 cars up on the outside line. That's Eric Smith leading the charge. You think that's the 4th place car, but Eric Smith is currently sitting 1 lap down at the moment. Stephen Tuck is right behind him. He is in the 3rd spot. He's 7/10 behind the leader right now as this top 3 pulls away. And there you see Widener and Jacob Smith. They are fighting for the 4th and the 5th spot. In all intents and purposes, they lead the pack at the moment as everyone else is starting to boot scoot away. And our playoff picture continues to change as Timmy Harper has fallen into the 10th position and Lockett has fallen to 12th. Real big shakeup as we near the end of the stage, Andrew. Excuse me, no, we are not nearing the end of the stage. We still have quite a few laps to go in this stage.
Coming up on 30 laps to go in stage number 2. Had to get myself a drink, a beverage, if you will, and just try to soak all of this in, because this has been one crazy race. Atlanta tends to bring out the crazy in NASCAR-style leagues, if not as well NASCAR itself. We saw some crazy with the NASCAR Xfinity Series race on Saturday, a little more crazy earlier today with the NASCAR Cup Series race, and a little more crazy today with the Icon Cup Series race. It's been very, very crazy, insane nearly. We've got a lapped car, some 8 laps down, leading this train of cars. So a car that's been through 2 massive accidents is leading the field 8 laps down. Somehow that car is okay and in good enough condition to be leading this lane, which is the lane of cars, as everybody's been single file through most of the evening. Very little side-by-side racing tonight, and when we've gotten side-by-side, it's usually ended in some sort of crash.
See now, Andrew, though, this is probably the perfect or miracle scenario that everybody wants to see at a super speedway. You've got a lap down car leading the field, being the one to punch the hole in the air, and you, as the leader, get to sit, draft, save fuel, and not give up track position to do so. Obviously, you don't like you've got a lap car in front of you, potentially holding you up, but at the same time, you're still leading the race, you get to save fuel, you get to save tires, and you don't have to back the field up to do it. And they're scooting away.
Yeah, 2nd place is falling back. That's Brzezowski, the 77. Stephen Tuck was 3rd and now gets shuffled out of line by the 21 of Smith. So Smith moves on through for 3rd. Steven Tuck hangs on his right side door for just a little bit longer, and I think we'll have to fall in line now here soon. And we'll finally fall in line ahead of Robert Bluen in the 99 car. New paint scheme on that 99 as well. Robert Bluen's been posting a lot of these paint schemes in the league Discord channels. Good to see him here with some new paint on that Chevrolet Camaro. And I think getting into the theme of Halloween.
Spooky season. Not my favorite season of the year.
It's spooky season is taken over the house here at Broadcast HQ. My fiance is incredibly into Halloween. So anybody who goes and puts a Halloween-themed paint scheme on the racetrack of the Icon Cup Series just might become her new favorite. It's just by default. If you're able to put together a Halloween paint scheme. So if that matters, wow. That was a big save. Brzezowski's still getting jacked up at the 21 of Jacob Smith. And these guys are continuing to lose touch with the 19 car of Adam Ball, who is leading this race, tagged onto the back end of... they've built up a nice gap at this point. A really solid gap. And here comes Smith.
I don't know about that one. This is...
oh my gosh.
Pushing Brzezowski out of the way.
And they've lost the draft. At least the lead draft. Can you believe this?
Oh. Huh. Well, there is an explanation for that from what it looks like. Apparently Nathan Brzezowski was half throttle. That entire time.
Wow.
He had been backpedaling from what it looks like. And that is why Jacob Smith was all over, because he came over. Yeah, this is one thing that I love, not to break the fourth wall a little bit, about the iRacing sim, is that it brings back one thing that we've seen in, the NASCAR Cup Series back in the day, which was drivers and spotters were allowed to communicate between each other's radio channels to allow them to work together when it came to the tandem draft, when it was a thing between 2010, 2011, 2012. And that's one thing they like to do here on iRacing, to communicate with each other. So Jacob Smith was trying to get Brzezowski to go, and he was trying to push him, and he came over the radio and said, "Are you full throttle?" Whereas Brzezowski said, "I am not full throttle," and that is why Brzezowski got forced out of line. And now, what you would think is a big pack of cars with Steven Tuck leading the way is now a big pack of cars with Steven Tuck leading second, and Adam Ball, 3 seconds out in front.
These guys have run 20 laps, and they have a little over 20 to go. I don't think they can stretch fuel far enough to make it to the end, but I think they're trying to. This is really strange. Everybody's single file. I think they're all trying to save some fuel. They are running 31s. So they're running single car lap times. The best they could do, the best laps that have been run so far have been 29 6s, 29 4s, 29 5s. This is a really strange occurrence. These guys are running way off pace, running 31 9s, slower than they ran in qualifying. They're saving fuel. Meanwhile, Adam Ball leads this race, being towed around by his teammate, Nathan Finnegan. Wow. I'm at a loss for words.
You and me both. 5 seconds out in front by himself for all intents and purposes, being pulled around by a lap car.
I told you, this place brings out the crazy.
I don't think it's the fact that this place has brung out the crazy. I think it's the fact that, once again, we are being thrown for a loop in this race.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It brings out the crazy. This is crazy. I don't even know. I am blown away by what's happening right now. These guys are way, way off pace. And they're cycling who leads as well, because Jacob Smith was leading this train, has been, well, he decided to move out of the way and give the lead of this train up to Stephen Tuck, who now moves up the racetrack and gets out of the way. Robert Bluen is going to take over. So it's you lead, no, you lead, no, you lead. I don't want to lead.
They continue to swap hands. And I respect it. Nobody wants to lead right now and touch that hole in the air.
They are 7 seconds off of Adam Ball.
It's a difficult scenario. You don't want to be the one to lead the train because you're going to be the one punching the hole in the air, which is going to end up putting you at a detriment to everybody else on the field strategy. But at the same time, Andrew, at the same time, the more they lose, that's just going to help Adam Ball's pit strategy.
I'm trying to come up with something here, Zach, and I don't know. I am blown away this evening by everything we've seen in just the first half of this race. We're coming up on lap 80 to mark exactly halfway in this race. And we have a field that is 10 seconds back of the race leader at a drafting track.
Please, don't make my head hurt any more than it already does.
Robert Bluen is trying to get going. I think he said, I'm going to go full throttle. He's taken off.
I want the viewers now to understand that if the trend keeps up like this, by the time we hit the stage break in about 16 laps, there is the potential that Adam Ball, at this pace, could put the whole field a lap down. The whole field. And even if he doesn't, even if he does not put the field a lap down and he runs out of fuel, and by some grace of God, the rest of the field ends up saving fuel, with the pace that he's running at with Finnegan, he'd just be able to catch right back up again.
14.5 seconds, working close to 15 now as these guys work down the backstretch. Robert Bluen back here now is going to go to the top side and sink back and leave Stephen Tuck to lead the lane. Tuck doesn't want to. He's trying to get out of the throttle and make Bluen continue to lead us. They're slowing themselves down even more. And Smith is all over the back end of the 10 car. And he's going to get out of the gas.
Time to go.
Nobody wants to go. Everybody's sitting back. They are running 33s, Zach. 33s. They're 18 seconds off of Adam Ball. And here comes Gladulich.
They're half a lap behind the leader. Here comes Timmy Harper now. Zach Lockett's behind. Cameron Thompson's coming up.
I think it's finally go time.
Are you sure about that? Pull
No.
out the John Cena meme. Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not. But I think these guys have finally decided enough is enough. They are 19 seconds behind the leader. Gladulich, Harper, Thompson, Lockett. They now lead this train.
But they're still not closing the gap.
Well,
no, they pulled a 10th back right there.
Yeah, that time they started to. Ball ran a 30.8 last lap. Gladulich ran a 31.1 last lap. Harper ran a 30.9. So they are full throttle, I think, at this point. They are back to full gas. Only 18.7 seconds off pace.
With 11 laps to go on the stage.
And who knows how much throttle Ball's been putting into this, considering he's had draft the entire stage. And we're now hitting pit window with 10 laps to go still. Make that 12, actually. 12 laps to go on the stage. We are at pit window. Oh, there goes a 10. Stephen Tuck gets hooked around, goes for a jump in the grass, hangs onto the race car, and we'll come back up onto the racetrack. No spin, no caution for the 10.
What a save. Wait a second. Hold on. It just hit me. Who's the best car on fuel right now?
Gladulich was the last one to pit. He sat back behind everybody. I would assume Gladulich is one of the best.
Brock Kersey was the one off cycle. He pitted under the caution.
Everybody pitted at the same time, under the same caution.
Oh yeah, that's true. Never mind.
And it's going to be 10 laps to go in stage 2 now, as there's extra help now for the 19 car. Kyle Gilbert has pulled up into this little group of 3 cars now. And we've officially hit 10 laps to go in the stage.
Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line in the sand on whether or not you are committed to running your strategy to the end or changing it up because of how ineffective it might have been? I mean, look at the field right now, Andrew. 20 whole seconds. They haven't closed anything. They've lost another 3 seconds.
I am blown away. Every time I think we have something figured out. Every time. And there's now 2 groups of cars here. You see everybody through Patty. So this is Gladulich through Patty, 2nd through 11th. That's going to be 10 cars. Then there's Cody Eldred a little further off the pace. These guys are running a little bit, well, they're running at the same lap times, it looks like. They are 3-4 seconds behind the lead group. I say lead group, the main group. So Cody Eldred, Kevin Gunther, Brock Hersey, Robert Bluin are back here. And everybody else trails Jacob Gladulich, which Gladulich
Oh, we got pitters.
Oh, we're going to have pit stops this time.
Adam Ball pitting. Adam Ball is pitting from the race lead. Pitting this time, but Finnegan is going with him. So that's going to keep them in the mix. You see Stephen Tuck there. He's gone a lap down. You see Gilbert's a lap down. Looks like Finnegan's going to let Adam Ball take over.
This is where time is to be made or lost. This is where time is going to be made or lost in the pit lane, is pit entry. Because when you're as just a few cars here, there's no rule about when you enter for the pits. You don't have to enter off the backstretch here in the Icon Cup Series. So you can enter straight off the making in turn 4. These guys slowed down a little bit early, whereas these guys in single car, I mean, if they want to get aggressive, they can just close in if they have to pit. If they have to pit, they can close in by just entering a little bit later. And the 19 is back on the racetrack here. He's just been passed by Eldred, Gunther, and more. And you see Ball is going to have a large advantage over Nathan Finnegan because he waited a little bit longer to enter. He's going to merge right back here with Kyle Gilbert and Stephen Tuck. This is best case scenario for right now for Adam Ball as he runs in the 14th spot. I say best case scenario. We still have to wait on these guys to see if they're going to pit or not.
And I think Robert Bluin is actually going to go a lap down because he missed his box. I don't know if you noticed it, Andrew. We saw our leader come down pit road, but Bluin missed his box. He ended up going extra laps down to these leaders. So we look on now. Timmy Harper leading the charge. Thompson, Lockett, Clemens, Smith. Clemens the last one in for stage points. You've got Zach Lockett sitting in 3rd. I don't know, Andrew, if you're Timmy Harper right now, do you try to run this field out to the end, considering the driver that you are fighting to make sure that you can lock yourself into the next round is right behind you, or do you try to stick on that same field strategy?
Stay on the racetrack as long as you can. That's the goal here on a super speedway race, a drafting race. Stay on the racetrack as long as you can, for sure. We're going to have 3 laps to go in the stage. I mean, these guys slowed down for a reason, right? They were looking for a fuel number. They must have hit that fuel number, and that was when they decided to get racing again. I didn't think they could do it, but they're working lap 42 here. They must have been running so far off of full throttle. And now they're going to pull up and draft off of the 79 car. And here comes Lockett. Lockett's in the wall.
Jacob Smith just called out he was hitting the pit lane. Lots of drivers looking like they want to go now. Lockett now looking to see if he can contend for the stage win. 2 laps to go in the stage when we cross the line. Smith to the security of the pit lane. Thompson to the inside now. Still hanging tough. Brzezowski's coming up. He's going to be 3rd. Harper's got a block for his life. off the nose. Lockett goes bottom. Crossover move.
Lockett right now is in. Harper right now is out, at least coming into tonight's race. These two are fighting for a chance to run in the round of 12. Harper has got the win from Bristol earlier this season. Lockett, I don't think, has even won a stage yet this season. He's going to lead us to the white flag in stage number 2.
Harper's got to get around. He can't afford to lose any points to that 93 car. He's drafting back a little bit. He's going to try to set up for a big run at the end. I don't know. It might be a little too late, Andrew. He's almost 0.2 of a second back.
He's got his teammate, though.
Big run coming. Clemens to the top. Harper to the top. Big block from the 93. It's not going to be enough, I don't think. Harper to the bottom. He's going to get
he's going to crash him. Lock it down through the grass. Timothy Harper is not going to win the stage. It's Cameron Thompson who wins stage number 2.
No stage points for Lockett.
A 3-wide finish.
Thompson wins the stage by 300ths over Charlie Widener, 400ths over Timothy Harper. So the difference between second and third is 9 1,000ths of a second. To my knowledge, Timmy Harper should get the EOL for that incident coming off of turn number 4.
Well, it didn't bring out a caution.
Racing.
It didn't bring out a caution. The 93 would have spun through the grass. It would have not been a yellow. So there goes the 93 spinning out. And to the stripe, this was the race back to the line for the stage win. Cameron Thompson over his teammate Timothy Harper and Charlie Widener. Widener goes second, Harper goes third. Then it's Patty and it's Patinko. They got that caution thrown just perfectly in the nick of time. Unbelievable scenes for Zach Lockett, though, to be leading off a turn 4 and get hooked around.
We've got trouble right now, Andrew. We have drivers that stayed out that are out of fuel. Zach Lockett himself is out of gas. Clemens, I believe, is out of gas at the moment. So as you see Lockett spinning through the grass once again, going for a ride. He's at the gas, Andrew. That's huge. We've got cars stopping at the entrance to the pit lane right now because they can't make it.
Wow.
Look at them. They're all slow right now.
I don't think they
Timmy
figured
Harper,
in.
Cody Eldred. They've got black flags right now, too.
I don't think they figured in the extra laps to get to pit lane. Or if they did, it wasn't by enough.
And it looks like after our little incident at the end of the stage, Timmy Harper is getting an EOL.
Really?
I am looking at the updates that I am given from Race Control. I see Timmy Harper getting an EOL. I see Zach Lockett getting an EOL. And I see Nathan Finnegan getting an EOL. Now, on that note, the only drivers that I see at the moment looking through my Race Control is Nathan Finnegan, Timmy Harper, Cody Eldred, and Kyle Gilbert with black flags at the moment. Now, Kyle Gilbert and Cody Eldred, I can assume their black flags are because of incidents, because they ran out of gas, maybe passing under yellow, but everything else I'm still completely unsure of. I will keep you posted, as I believe our Stage 2 winner is waiting for us.
That he is. Cameron Thompson wins Stage 2 just by a hair over Charlie Widener and your teammate Timothy Harper. What the heck happened from your perspective out of Turn 4?
Timmy got in the back of the 93 of Lockett and got him loose, and I just kind of just shot it to the right and trying to just stay out of the mess. I really wasn't trying to win the stage. I was trying to help Timmy here get some stage wins. He's outside the playoff, trying to get him, inside, and this didn't work out that way. We snuck a stage win. See what happens the rest of the race.
Well, interestingly, you winning the stage actually helped him, because if he was going to lose the stage, you getting those extra points keeps Widener from getting a couple of extra points when he's racing potentially against Widener as one of the drivers that he could maybe knock out here. So don't worry. I think it's okay is my point here. 4 laps led. Do you think you can win this race?
We're going to try. Helping out teammates this race. I mean, if he's not here with us, we're going to go and win it. So that's the goal.
looking for maybe some redemption after Daytona. Zach Cameron Thompson wins stage number 2 and potentially is looking for victory lane.
So apparently, right before we go green now, Andrew, the 6 car of Nathan Finnegan will be pitting as soon as we take the green flag. Multiple cars with black flags at the moment, some of them being EOLs, others are passing under yellow. There was so much confusion under the yellow flag, Andrew, and now we go back to the green flag with 60 laps to go.
Just 60 laps remain here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green flag back in the air. We are racing once again. And this stage should be pretty straightforward. It should be just a straight up race to the end with a pit stop in the middle. I don't think we're going to have any more of those games, as here comes the 6th car at the very least down to pit lane. He's going to peel off, as does Timmy Harper, and Eldred gets up into Jacob Smith.
Eldred has to pit too. He was trying to get to the down. He was trying to get down. He didn't call it out, so there was a little confusion. Gilbert, Finnegan, Harper, and Eldred all have to pit right here. I don't know if it's a hold. It might be a pass-through. I would hope it's a pass-through because the field right now is on to the back
Stop
straightaway.
and go, it looks like, for Eldred. He's going to have to pull into the box, and he's going to have to wait, it looks like.
Harper is in too. It's all of them. So that is going to put them all laps down as the field comes off of turn number 4. You can see them now passing the start-finish line. All 4 of those drivers going further laps down. Finnegan now 10 down. Gilbert was 4 down already. So that is going to put them further down the running order. However, Timmy Harper is the driver out in front. No, never mind.
Stephen Tuck is a lap down and has passed him.
Stephen Tuck, first car 1 lap down.
There goes Eldred.
They just came off of turn number 4, so they're going 2 laps down. And now Lockett's moved past Timmy Harper, who's 2 laps down. I did not think Lockett was 2 laps down there, but it looks like he is. So multiple cars, multiple laps down. That's going to be drivers getting it back the hard way, Andrew. We don't have enough free passes for everybody tonight.
You see Lockett now leading this train. Very similar to Finnegan there in stage number 2, leading the way as a lapped car. Although Lockett is only 2 laps down, trying to stay 2 laps down instead of going 3 laps down if Patty were to pass him. And a reminder as well, Zach, we've already been to Atlanta this season. Granted, it was on the 2008 scan, way back in, I believe, the end of July. You know who went to victory lane?
Who?
Ryan Patty.
Looks like he's going to go for the sweep here tonight, as Zach Lockett continues to stay out in front, trying not to go another lap down off the nose of Ryan Patty. And I think Patty's going to be generous with him and let that 93 car stay in front. I don't know for how long, though, because these guys are all over the place. As, well...
And here we go. Patty's going to pass Lockett.
Putting him 3 laps down. And now... I'm trying to do math again right here. So Lockett and Harper are separated by 1 spot. So if I'm doing my math correctly, 3 and 3 makes 6. That's the stage points that Harper got. So 6 points, call it 13. At the moment as they run, if I'm doing points math correctly, Harper should still be either 12 or 11 points out from the cut at the moment. However, Brock Hersey, who has not scored any stage points, was 11 points out to begin with. He runs in the 8th spot currently, and Zach Lockett runs 16th. So, doing that math, that puts Brock Hersey 3 points out from transferring in to the round of 12. So we have a real shakeup in the points now.
It's the battle mostly between Hersey and Lockett. Gunther, Widener, Eldred, they're all pretty well safe. Kyle Purcell, it looks like, who's back on the racetrack, 67 laps down. He's trying to get up to Brad Delph. He's past Thomas Taylor. So he's trying to get some more points and hold himself in the playoffs. It looks like he'll just be able to do so. He's going to be close here, Zach. I mean, Brock Hersey. Oh, man.
I don't know about you, Andrew, but I considered Brock Hersey a bit of a wild card coming into these playoffs. And with the pace that he had shown for the most part, you know, it looked like it could have been a first-round exit for him. So the fact that he is contending at the moment is amazing. And he's also up to 7th. So that's another point. So put him 2 points out.
Now, his paint scheme doesn't show the yellow spoiler and such, but he is in the playoffs. We can confirm. From Electric City Racing, the 24 car is in the playoffs. Doesn't have the yellow spoiler, the yellow splitter, but that's okay. He's racing for a championship at the moment, trying to stay in the playoffs and live to see the round of 12. Everything else has surprised me so far this evening. It wouldn't surprise me if he's able to get up here and get enough points to move on in.
It wouldn't surprise me either. I think he's got a solid chance right now. If he can get in front of Gunther and Patinko, that would lock him in by the margin of either a tie or 1 point. However, let's keep this in mind, Andrew. Let's keep that tiebreaker in mind. I would assume that it would go off of wins, and to my knowledge, neither Zach Lockett nor Brock Hersey have a win on the season. So one would assume it would go off of their top 5, which would be, if I can do a little bit of math here.
While you do that math, I want to bring up Kyle Purcell again because he could just end up losing enough points.
Okay, math is done. Zach Lockett has 4 top 5 finishes on the season tonight. Brock Hersey, a big fat 0. So a tiebreaker, if we're going off the top 5s, would go down to Zach Lockett.
I'm reading over the rules, and I don't see a clearly defined tiebreaker procedure. We do also have bonus points, Zach, for leading laps, leading the most laps, fastest lap of the race, 0 incidents. There's some bonus points up for grabs. We could absolutely see Brock Hersey make his way into the round of 12. And who knows, Kyle Purcell could lose just enough points for Lockett to pass him. In fact, right now Lockett would pass him, so that puts another car between himself and Hersey. I'm sorry, Lockett would not pass him. I'm looking at Lockett as 4th place. Lockett would not pass him. Lockett could, though.
It's possible. Never say never. There are so many possibilities. And with the crazy race that we've seen, Andrew, there are a ton of possibilities how this race can go.
That there are. That there are. The field works on the backstretch into turn number 3, this time by lap 117 of 160. Kevin Gunther pops up out of line. He's got Brzezowski right behind. Then Brock Hersey is down into the 8th spot. And we are nearing 40 laps to go. The pit window will open up in about 10 more laps.
They're still going to have to pit one more time after that, too. There is...
No, this will be the final round of stops.
Really?
When they pit, it'll be the final round. They'll pit around 30 laps to go and have run about 30 laps.
Makes sense. Ryan Patty continues to lead over Adam Ball, Cameron Thompson, Charlie Widener, and Evan Patinko. That is actually one driver I'd like to touch on, Andrew. Evan Patinko. He has been fighting for his life in the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series to make the playoffs. He made the playoffs by sheer determination at the last race at Auto Club Speedway, and now here he is in the Icon Cup Series. He's the best of the rest out of the drivers that didn't make the playoffs, and he's really showing it right now. The only driver who is below the playoffs, as in the 16 drivers that made it to begin with, the only driver in front of him is Cameron Thompson, so he's out here showing that he can show moments of speed. He can be fast. He can contend for race wins. So, congratulations, Evan. You're out here running in the top 5. Keep it up, buddy. We're pulling for you here in the booth.
And Evan Patinko, if you recall, was so close to making his way into the playoffs here in the Icon Cup Series, was beat out by Brock Hersey that we've been talking about. Hersey took the 11th position. That's a lot like Chase Briscoe getting his win in the last race of the regular season to just move into the playoffs. And if he were to have a better race than he did at Atlanta today, having a chance to move on. It's one of those kinds of things almost. And while Patinko was on one side of it here, he's on the other side of it in the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. We'll see how that works out for him on Tuesday as they begin their chase. But for right now, eyes are up on race leader Ryan Patty. Now he's safe, more or less, to make it to the round of 12. So the points situation, again, is between the 23, 01, and 24. That's about it. Those are the 3 cars to worry about for points, and the 12 if he's able to get back on the lead lap. But Harper is 2 laps down right now, and very well out of the playoffs at the moment. But here comes Brock Hersey with a run along with the 31 car of Kevin Gunther.
Don't look now, Andrew. But as these drivers contend, as Hersey tries to make sure he's locked into the playoffs, as he would be at the moment, Timmy Harper is rolling up on Robert Bluen and Steven Tuck to get a position back to help his playoff chances and put him one more spot above Zach Lockett as he ride on board with Brock Hersey. He's looking like he's going to go for the race lead now. Gunther surging past the 7 of Thompson, drawing alongside Adam Ball. Does he reach 24? No. Thompson gets back in there very close on that rear quarter panel. It is shaping up to be one heck of a run to the end.
Then again, pulling up to help Hersey and Gunther on the top side of the racetrack. A lot of these drivers listen into the broadcast as well, so I wonder what their thinking is. I wouldn't be surprised if that team channel at least has one driver listed again, as Hersey makes a big swerve to the inside to get in line right behind Zach Lockett. I think thinking the bottom side is going to go forward and the top side is going to go backwards. So there goes Gunther to the bottom lane to help Hersey. Gunther is pretty well in right now as well.
Do you make friends now, Andrew, if you haven't made them already, or do you think you just got to find whatever is possible to keep a hold of track position? Because if you're Brock Hersey, at the moment, you can say you're a round of 12 contender because he has the points at the moment. As they run, Zach Lockett continues to sit in the 16th position, which means Hersey has a 12-point advantage, meaning he's good by 1 spot. As looks like Timmy Harper trying to move past Cody Eldred at the moment. Keep an eye on that battle in the foreground. But like I said, do you make your friends now, or do you not? You just go for track position.
Harper is gone by Eldred. Speaking of that fight you were talking about, now he's 7-8 seconds back of Robert Bluen for the 13th position, so Harper trying to get back what he can. Right now, it would still not be enough as he's 2 laps down with a lap up to Steven Tuck, who's 1 lap down. But up front, this is still the picture as we get closer and closer to the pit window.
You know one thing I'm scared of, Andrew? Take a wild guess at what I'm scared of with pit stops coming up.
A crash?
Yep. How many times have we seen crashing coming into the pit lane? Drivers just getting a little too what is it, throttle happy. They want to try to beat someone into the pit lane, get a spot, or they think they can get on the brakes the latest or whatever to try and maximize their pit entry, and we end up seeing some sort of green flag pit stop calamity.
My message to these guys is wait it out as long as you can, and if it's allowed, which it is, be aggressive into the pit lane. I would not want to be caught being the driver that has to, in a pack, peel off and pit off a turn 3. I would want to be the one who waits the longest and is able to pit off of turn 4 off the banking, because I'm going to save way more time that way.
Well, pit stop's underway, Andrew. Stephen Tuck and Robert Bluen have made their way into the pit lane.
That puts Harper up to 13th, the first car 2 laps down. But we await our race leaders in the pit lane. They should be in within the next 5 laps or so.
Ooh. Here's a fun little thing. It looks like drivers are starting to communicate their fuel situations. So, looks like Jacob Smith is trying to work with those drivers that are sitting in the back, that being Timmy Harper and Gilbert, who are currently trying to make sure they're the first cars 1 lap down. It should be, as these leaders cross the line, that Stephen Tuck goes an extra lap down. Timmy Harper now securely in the free pass position. Looks like Jacob Smith only has about 4.5 to go in his tank. Timmy Harper has about 10.5 to go in his tank. So I think Timmy Harper is hoping that these leaders all pit. He can stay out, take some laps back, and then maybe a caution come out before he has to take his way down the pit lane.
Well, Gladulus takes over the race lead here off the back end of Nathan Finnegan, now falls back behind Ryan Patty. Gladulus is one of those drivers that often pits a little bit late. I wonder how far he can go on fuel, and Harper saying he's got 10. He's going to have the same fuel as the rest of these guys, one would think, unless he took fuel service after his pit penalty. By the way, Gladulus does take over the race lead. He moves in front of Patty. These guys might have a little more in the tank than we thought, just by saving fuel.
He just might.
Again, single car run, you can go about 33 laps. So we put the fuel range at 30 to 35 safely. But these guys are going to be extending it closer to 40.
It's all a toss-up right now. That's the best thing that I can say. I think it's all a toss-up, as we just sit here really waiting to see when these guys are going to start taking it down the pit lane and getting themselves into a spot where they know they can keep moving forward. And I don't know, Andrew. I really don't know what to say. There's so much that could happen right now.
Well, we've got to see these drivers pit here sometime. It's going to happen soon. We don't know exactly what lap it'll be on. But when they come in, again, you want to try to be one of the last drivers, I think, to pit. Granted, I think everybody here is going to try to do the same thing and be one of the last drivers to pit. I think everybody's going to try to do that, which might end in calamity, as you were talking about, Zach. We could see one of those green flag pit stop crashes.
It's always a possibility. I've always got it in the back of my mind. That's why whenever I'm out there running with guys like these, really just running out there at any super speedway, the main thing for me is that I usually like to pit in the second group to allow the first group to take their way into the pit lane, and then when I know
here we
the
go.
are broken up, there we go.
Gladulus is going to come in. He's going to peel off along with Cameron Thompson. That's going to bring Gunther. That's going to bring Hersey. Hersey on the inside is going to cough up a lot of time.
See if we have any drivers with speeding penalties. Looks like they all made it in clean and green as we continue to roll.
Hersey
Charlie
coughed up
Widener's
a
gonna
lot
take
of
it to the
time,
pit
though,
lane.
and Ryan Patty ends up pitting along with these guys. I didn't see him come in, so he ended up waiting a while to actually enter the pit lane. Here we go. Widener's going to pit. No, he actually gets back in the gas. I thought he was pitting. I think he thought he was pitting, but had
Called it
Brzezowski
out.
on his back end, and I think he wanted to not get run over there. So now he's going to peel up to the top side and let Brzezowski go by and try it over again.
Here,
All while
Lockett is coming in.
Ball pit, leads the race.
Now Lockett's coming in. Brzezowski's coming in right here. They peel
Watch
off.
Widener. Widener's going to wait a little bit longer.
He's not pit.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Oh, boy.
That's what I'm saying. That move right there is going to save seconds on the racetrack.
There's Smith pulling out. There you see Brzezowski and Lockett. Look at the gap between them.
Ooh,
There's
Harper.
Timmy Harper coming in. Big send by Timmy Harper to put that car in the pit lane. Looking to see if there's any black flags. Still no black flags throughout the field. So it looks like everyone is still sticking to their guns, sticking to their strategy. As
And-
Ball takes it to the pit lane. Finnegan right there in front of him, like it was early on.
We're going to have 20 laps to go here in just a moment. There's Widener off the pit lane. Brzezowski is going to follow. Ryan Patty comes up. He's in turn 1. So where is he going to end up in relation to the 95 of Widener? He's going to go right by Widener. Patty was able to wait until very, very late in the corner to actually pit. I think that paid off.
Ooh. Interesting call by the 19. 2 left side tires, and he's out and away.
He's going to wait on the 6 car, I think. No, he's not. He's going to go on ahead. That might have coughed up a little bit of time. Here comes Patty to go on by. This is Ryan Patty, Jacob Gladulich, and Cameron Thompson racing for the win at this point. Joshua Clemens is on his own. He's trying to hang on to the back end of the draft. He's just within range, and I think just might have lost it.
What can you do? What
Adam
can
Ball
you
is
do?
going to be 5th. Charlie Widener 6th. Kevin Gunther 7th. The whole field has been spread out. Brock Hersey, by the way, 8th place. I think he's about to be eliminated from the playoffs, Zach. I've got to be honest. He is not in a good spot right now. Lockett, I think, is going to hang on for just enough as Lockett runs 16th. 3 laps down. Without a caution to shake things up further, I think Hersey is just a little bit too far out.
Brock Hersey needs a 5th place finish to secure his spot into the next round. And he needs to go up there and get Adam Ball, so he has to find about 3 seconds.
All while these 3 are currently the race for the win.
Bladulich had a shot at the race win last week at Darlington.
Stage winner.
Well, stage win, but I still think he could have had a shot at the win with the strategy he was on until that wreck happened and it threw him back and he just wasn't really able to recover after that. So now he's kind of seeking a little bit of redemption, honestly, Andrew. Sitting on that back bumper of Ryan Patty. Just about 16 laps to go when we cross the line.
Gladulich does hail from the state of Georgia, so this could be a home win for him in the making. Who knows? 16 to go there across the stripe, coming to 15 the next time by. And just continues to push Ryan Patty. These guys stay linked up nose to tail to nose to tail. 3 cars strong. Adam Ball runs in 4th with Charlie Widener in 5th and Kevin Gunther. And Joshua Clemens has fallen back to the 7th spot. Brock Hersey is some 3.7 seconds back of that pack. So he has to make up 4 seconds. And he does not have numbers on his side.
That he does not.
And Lockett in this group, it's in his best interest not to help the 24 car.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. It would be in his best interest. And it looks like Patinko is not being the biggest help to Hersey's case at the moment. They don't seem linked up very well.
Not much bumping happening here. "13 laps to go at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's still Ryan Patty leading this race. He goes by Cody Eldred to put the 32 car another lap down. That could be a spot for Lockett at some point, because that now puts Eldred 3 laps behind the race leaders. It would take a lot for that to be a spot for Lockett, but it could be. Meanwhile, Eric Smith runs 4 laps down. Kyle Gilbert runs 5 laps down. Nathan Finnegan runs 12 laps down. And Kyle Purcell at some point got 20th place, going by Brad Delph by 7 laps. He is now 92 laps down and off the racetrack. 11 laps to go. Eldred's going to hang on to the back end of this group and start to draft up. And Zach Adam Ball might be closing in. He might be leading this train around. Yes, they are closing in slowly but surely on the race leaders. This is no longer going to be a 3-car race for the win, I don't think.
You never know. They roll up 10 laps to go. Adam Ball 1.7 seconds back. This is not helping the case for Brock Hersey, who has fallen behind Evan Patinko. They continue to fall further and further back from this top 5 group. But then again, Andrew, cautions are always up for grabs.
Down to 9 laps to go. You see the gap from Adam Ball up to Cameron Thompson. 1.6 seconds. Narrowing ever so slightly around this racetrack. There's just enough time for the 19 to end up catching up and bringing this field with him. And this little group is all playoff drivers as well. Adam Ball, Charlie Widener, Kevin Gunther, Joshua Clemens, and Nathan Finnegan, who's laps down. These 5 drivers are all in the playoffs, and 4 of them are looking for their first win of the season. Those being the 4 that are on the lead lap. 1.4 seconds.
Gap keeps closing further and further.
They keep getting closer and closer. You see those cars ahead now in frame. And you know what? Ball is chasing to Cody Eldred, not even to Cameron Thompson. So he's got that much less to have to go to start to get that draft. And you can see them now chasing the draft up the racetrack down the backstretch. I think they're going to catch them. 6 laps to go this time by.
Keeps closing. Sooner or later, you're going to start having the draft off of Cameron Thompson, which is going to pull you even closer, even faster.
Oh, he's in the wake now of Cody Eldred for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cody Eldred is right there in between them. Honestly, I didn't even see him for a second. The black cars are getting a little harder to notice with the darkness here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Watch the run. Here comes
Big
Adam Ball.
run out of the 19.
He's going to have a massive run here on the 32 car at the very least of Cody Eldred. Eldred's going to stay low, it looks like. Ball pulls up. It is going to look high. He's going to try to bring Charlie Widener along with. And you can see Ryan Patty, Jacob Gladulus reacting a little bit. They know what's happening behind them. Eldred gets out of the way. Gunther pulls up.
Four laps to go this time by. Ball
And-
is in position to put himself in the race lead. There he goes. He goes high around Thompson. He doesn't have any help. He might get a bit of a run with Gladjulich moving offset a little bit.
Gunther
Patty
stays
pulls
low.
high.
Gunther stays low. Patty and Gladjulich go up top. Now Gunther goes up to the top of the racetrack to help that 19 car, who gets in line in 3rd place. He won on the most recent drafting track out at Daytona 2 weeks ago. Can he go to victory lane again here at Atlanta? Adam Ball now looks up and moves into the 2nd place into turn 1 with 3 laps to go. Ryan Patty won here at Atlanta on the old configuration just a month and a half ago. He would like to get another race win. He's going to move up and block Jacob Gladjulich. 2.5 to go.
This becomes a super speedway classic. Adam Ball now draws alongside the 30 car of Ryan Patty. He's going to have the nose out in front coming off of turn number 4. But is Ryan Patty going to have a run? They're trying to get formed up on the top. Gunther on the back bumper of Gladjulich. 2 laps to go. Count them. Popsicle sticks in the air for the 30 car of Ryan Patty. He has the lead once again, but the bottom line prevails. Promoting Adam Ball now back to the race lead. It's going to be a dogfight between them as the pushers are pushing the other pushers as they wiggle around. Now they're disconnected. Thompson moves up. This is going to be one heck of a nail-biter, Andrew. Here we go.
One of those classic Atlanta finishes in the making. Up the racetrack goes the 14, 3 wide behind. Kevin Gunther's going to poke on through. He's going to give a push now to the 30 car. White flag is out. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. 1 lap to go.
Patty's well and clear down the back straightaway. Ball's dropping back even further.
Oh, Widener's going to turn the 31. Out of turn number 4, Ryan Patty is going to bring us to the checkered flag. He's going to sweep the races at Atlanta and bring Adam Ball and Cameron Thompson along with the crash in the back with Widener and Gunther. No mind. The 30 car, the pickle car, who goes to victory lane. That is now, I believe, the 3rd time this season for the 30.
That it is. And you want to know what's crazy? It's a little bit of a changing of the order, but it's the same top 3 we had at the most recent drafting track.
Ryan Patty, Adam Ball, and Cameron Thompson.
Oh, congratulatory bump there from Gladjulich. And I will say, Andrew, Gunther was passed by Hersey. Hersey moved into 7th. That puts him 2 spots out from a lock. You said there's bonus points for finishing with a 0x. If Hersey finished with a 0x, that's extra bonus points. We might have a close race for that next spot in the round of 12.
It will indeed be close, as it's 2 points for finishing with a 0x, and yes, it is. 2 points. If Brock Hersey's able to grab that, as Ryan Patty does his burnout here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, if Brock Hersey's able to net that bonus, he just might have enough to beat Zach Lockett and get into the round of 12.
We'll definitely have to wait and see. Hopefully we can get a solid points update before the end of the show tonight. But it should be very, very close for these drivers as Ryan Patty celebrates on the Atlanta front stretch.
So Ryan Patty goes to victory lane this evening. Let's bring him in and talk to him. We'll get a hold of Ryan Patty first in the Discord channel and bring him up and talk to driver 3-0 after 160 laps. You go back to Atlanta Motor Speedway victory lane. You're getting pretty used to this Atlanta victory lane, aren't you now?
Well, it's not the same track completely, but man, what a heck of a race there. I can't believe we brought it home.
You ended up getting the win over your teammate Adam Ball and Cameron Thompson, everybody else there. Were you worried in those closing laps that Ball was going to have more of a run and go on by on the top side or the bottom side?
I honestly didn't know. I had such good help there with Gladjulich behind me, and I think we worked really well together. But then I saw that, I was watching my relative, and I saw that they were ticking away, 2/10, 3/10 a lap, and I saw they were doing that on the high side. And I actually did learn over the last 10 laps too that as the tires went away, we needed to arc the entry out and the exit of each turn a little bit more. So, I knew if I got pinned on the bottom, that was going to be the end of it, and that's why I moved up there. And thankfully, Jacob went up with me. And man, on that last lap, I thought Kevin had me too. Kevin Gunther had a heck of a run. He went to go low, and I was like, oh, he's just going to pass me on the inside and take the win. And I don't know what happened. Click the seas parted behind me and gave me the clean path.
Well, we were already pretty certain that you were moving on to the next round, the round of 12. This, of course, confirms that you're into the round of 12. Watkins Glen up next. How do you feel about these 3 tracks up ahead?
Good. Yeah, I really like Watkins Glen. It's really, I mean, I think it's the most fun road course for these, NASCAR Cup cars. I'm not even. I got to take a look and see what's after that. What tracks do we have after
Watkins Glen, Bristol, and Kansas. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Bristol. I have a strong chance of winning at. I think, as long as you take care of the car and the tires. And Kansas is one of my favorite tracks, but I also know it's one of Nathan Finnegan's favorite tracks, and he's always given us a hard time there. But overall, I feel confident that I can run top 5, top 3 at any of those, and hopefully we'll be looking at the round of 8 before long.
Well, best of luck, congratulations, and I know we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully it was a good show. It was a lot of fun in the car.
It was a topsy-turvy night, as Zach would say. Definitely a lot of surprises along the way. Congratulations to Ryan Patty. We will go down and get now Adam Ball, who finishes second place, Zach. This 19 car won stage number 1, comes back and goes second place for the race. He has got something on these drafting tracks.
Super speedways seem to be Adam Ball's playground. You bring it home second. Not 2 weeks ago, you brought it home with a win at Daytona, so to follow it up with a second place finish here at Atlanta and leading 73 laps, you got to be happy about that one.
Oh, for sure. I always tend to do well at these super speedways, so I always enjoy to come to them.
Well, a second place finish on the night and securely making it through to the next round of the playoffs. You're into the round of 12, obviously, with that win, and you're going to have a lot of points going in to the next round to help you make it into the round of 8. Hopefully, was that your plan from the get-go, to just try to maximize the points as best you can? Or have you just been like, you know what, whatever happens, happens, and if I get another win, I get another win, but it's just relaxing moving forward?
Yeah, tonight I was trying to get as much bonus points for leading stages and winning the race as I could, because those will carry out through the next rounds, which will certainly help me. The next few races coming up, especially Watkins Glen and Bristol, you're never quite sure what's going to happen, and I'm not awesome at the road courses, so as long as we can get like a 10th or so out of there, I think we'll be good.
Well, you're still walking in with one heck of a points gap to the bubble, I would assume, considering the amount of points that you've accumulated from this round. So congratulations on your second place finish tonight, and can't wait to see you at Watkins Glen. Hopefully you repeat the success in the next round that you've shown in this one.
Well, thank you very much. We'll see you there.
And that was Adam Ball, Andrew, your second place finisher here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Brings it home with probably one of the cleanest cars on the racetrack, as well as Cameron Thompson is sitting in the wind waiting for his interview from a third place finish.
Cameron Thompson ends up winning stage number 2, third place here in stage number 3. At the very end of the day, you had a couple of chances. Is there anything you could have done differently to win this race?
I wish. It's just track positions king. Once they got the lead there, I don't really have the help from behind. My teammates were a couple laps down there. Tried making a couple moves. They were kind of wrecking coming down the backstretch, and I was hoping I'd get something, but Adam and Ryan are paired up there, and you're not really taking away from both of those. P3, the top 3 from Daytona, does it again.
In the same top 3 as the last drafting track we were at 2 weeks ago. Well, clearly you guys have got this thing figured out, but how will you fare on some of these tracks coming up? I know you're not in the playoffs, but still always looking to play a spoiler at places like Watkins Glen, Bristol, Kansas, and so on and so forth. How do you feel about these next 3 tracks?
Watkins Glen, is kind of anyone's game there. If you can kind of get some practice on those road courses and show up. Other than that, yeah, we're playing spoiler. We played spoiler today in the stages. Seeing what we can do here, maybe, make it hard for these guys to actually win a championship here.
Cameron Thompson racing along with his teammate, Timothy Harper. We don't know exactly what's going to happen there yet. It sounds like Harper's on the out, but still a valiant effort by both of you guys to try and get that 12 car into the round of 12. Congratulations on the third place, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Andrew.
And that about does it for us, Zach, from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's go through the unofficial race results, though, as we wait on points to get wrapped up, finished up, and sent on their way. The results, with Ryan Patty, the race winner, Adam Ball second, Cameron Thompson your top 3, Joshua Clemens, Charlie Widener complete your top 5, Zach, all within just about a half second of Ryan Patty there at the end.
That they do. Jacob Gladulich right back there in the 6th position as well, and I hope they were able to get an update very quickly on Brock Hersey, who ends up 7th on the night. There is still the potential, I would think, that he would be able to point himself in. So there's still open possibility that he's going to be in the round of 12. I think so. I don't know for certain, though. There's still open opportunity, though, with Kevin Gunther and Jacob Smith pulling up in the 8th and 9th position. Nathan Brzezowski rounding out the top 10. And there's so many people that we could have seen in this top 10 that finished well outside of it.
Yeah, finishing 11th place this evening, you'll find Evan Patinko in the 96, who was in the running there for a long time. Steven Tuck ends up 12th. Timothy Harper 13th. I think that's going to be enough to eliminate car number 12 this evening. Robert Bluen, Cody Eldred complete your top 15. Eldred should stay in. Zach Lockett, it's going to be close between himself and Brock Hersey. We don't know exactly what's going to happen just yet. We're waiting on points, and let's see. Updated points. We've just got them here. Zach Lockett, it looks like by 2 points, may just hang on to a playoff spot. That's unofficial. Very unofficial. But that is what we've been handed initially here. Unofficially, Zach Lockett may just hang on to a playoff spot by 2 points over Brock Hersey, with Timothy Harper, Sean Purcell, and Justin Bissonette all out. It's going to be close for sure. That's unofficial. Very unofficial. I think we'll have to wait until a little bit later on this evening for everything to be tabulated once again to be perfectly official. But for the rest of the top 20 anyways, it's Eric Smith, Kyle Gilbert, Nathan Finnegan, and Kyle Purcell, who's just able to move into the top 20 and get himself some extra laps there, some extra points as well to try and stay in this top 12, and it looks like he's done exactly that.
That he has. We roll through the rest of the running order. Brad Delph, Thomas Taylor, Chase Lewis, and Logan Romney, and then Hanover Fist. That's going to be your final 5 drivers on the night. I feel for a lot of these guys because they were chasing a lot of good runs. Chase Lewis and Logan Romney, they were up there running, and then they ended up wrecking out in the same incident. It's just unfortunate for a lot of these drivers that knew they had cars that could potentially win the race tonight. And every time you come to a super speedway, you know in your head that there is an absolutely outstanding shot that you could have the race win. So to see a lot of these guys out is just heartbreaking, to say the least.
I want to go back over the unofficial points update here. Ryan Patty, Brian Smith, Nathan Finnegan, Adam Ball, Jacob Gladulich, Joshua Clemens, Vincent Loria, Charlie Widener, Kevin Gunther, Cody Eldred, Kyle Purcell, and Zach Lockett seem to be the 12 drivers in the round of 12. It does seem, for now, that Brock Hersey is the first driver out of the round of 12, the 13th driver, if you will, and will be out of the playoffs after this evening, along with Timothy Harper, who won at Bristol earlier this season. That's crazy that a race winner is eliminated in the first round when we've had the race wins stacked among so few drivers this season, but he is out. Sean Purcell is out, and Justin Bissonette is out. And this was the picture coming in. So you can see Brock Hersey made up what it seems to be 9 points throughout the race result. And I know Lockett got some big time stage points at one point. I don't know.
He did.
I think it all worked out pretty crazy. To be a 2 point margin is pretty insane.
That it did. And, looking at the points right now, through the unofficial points update that we have at the moment, Vincent Loria, he was the second seed rolling in to the next round of the playoffs. Because he missed tonight, and going into Watkins Glen, he has dropped from the second seed to the 7th seed.
Well, that's not seeds that we're looking at. That is just the points earned in this round.
Well, yeah, no, you are right.
So Loria, I think, will still line up by probably in the second spot by all of his race wins, considering he's got 7 this season. He should still be our second place seed. But he did drop considerably from this race alone in the point standings, 5 spots. And if it was the round of 8, he might have been out. But if it was the round of, I guess it was the round of 12. If this were Kansas, right, going into the round of 8, I think he might have been out. That's why making every one of these races from here on out, these next 9 races, if you're in the playoffs, you've got to make all 9 of them, or you're going to miss, more than likely, a chance to race for a championship. Next up, Zach, Watkins Glen, one of the final 2 road courses of the season, then Bristol and Kansas. This round of 12 is going to be crazy.
That it is. There is going to be so much chaos in these next few races, and I think we're in for a show coming up. These drivers are going to be all out at Watkins Glen. Bristol is going to show a lot of aggression, I would think. And then Kansas, Kansas. You're going to see a lot of people ripping the top there. It's going to be one heck of a race to tune in for.
That'll do it for us this evening from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's an unofficial points update and an update on the tracks upcoming for the round of 12. Before we go, though, let's take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV as a whole. Next up, we go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series as they begin their chase of 5 races for a championship. We go to Watkins Glen September 15th here at the Icon Cup Series next Sunday evening at 7:45 Eastern. Before we go Roval Racing with the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series on September the 17th in their second race of their chase. So a lot of road course racing coming up with these next-gen cars. Back-to-back road course broadcasts, one at Watkins Glen and one at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval.
Plenty of places to watch along at Pit Stop TV. You can tune in to all the great things we have going on at Pit Stop TV at pitstoptv.com. And then you can always check us out, facebook.com/pitstoptv, instagram.com/pit_stop_tv, twitch.tv/pit_stop-tv, youtube.com/pitstoptv1. That's the best place, the main place to watch Pit Stop TV. And then x.com/pitstoptv_. But to be perfectly honest, Andrew, the best way to search Pit Stop TV is just go into Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube, or even X, and type in at Pit Stop TV, and we shall pop right up onto your phone, onto your feeds, on your computer, wherever you're joining us from, and you'll be able to follow along with all the great stuff here at Pit Stop TV.
That'll do it for us this evening from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you all next time from Watkins Glen for the Icon Cup Series, or this coming Tuesday evening from Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. It's been a pleasure as always. We'll see you all next time at Las Vegas on Tuesday. Make sure to tune in. We'll see you there.